Facebook, already facing criticism over its business practices and the role that it played in the 2016 election, has a new problem today. A former employee is calling out the social media giant for what he says is racial discrimination. Mark Lucky wrote a lengthy memo and he sent it to Facebook staff before his last day on November 16th. In it, he alleges Facebook is failing its black employees and its black users by excluding them from events and the important work that guides Facebook's service. Facebook's response to CNBC, quote, "The growth and representation of people from more diverse groups working in many different functions across the company is a key driver of our ability to succeed. We are going to keep doing all we can to be a truly inclusive company." Mark Lucky joins me now. Mark, thanks for your time this morning. First of all, why go public with the post?
Well, I had initially planned to keep it internal, but there wasn't a lot of accountability on Facebook's part. There was silence from Mark Zuckerberg, from Sheryl Sandberg, and a lot of the black employees felt like their concerns were encapsulated in this post, but they were being dismissed. So the public posting it publicly was a means to keep Facebook accountable.
You were at the company, as I understand it, for just over a year, and you've said during that time you experienced discrimination firsthand. How so?
I did daily. I had my fellow coworkers would grab their purses or reach for their wallets, having security come up to me a couple times, demanding my badge, passing coworkers who weren't black to do so. And it just became an ongoing problem in addition to the work that I was doing and having the work around diversity and these global influencers being excluded.
Did you complain to supervisors?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. As you can tell, I'm a very vocal person, and I wanted to make change, especially recognizing that it wasn't just me who was having this problem. As Facebook has said, they have many people around the company who are working in the diversity space, who are working to grow our employee base and also to do some of the initiatives that I did in my role. But they're being disenfranchised on a systemic level, and so it makes it very, very difficult for black employees to believe in the company if this is happening all across the company.
You write in part that black people are one of the most engaged demographics on Facebook, but despite that, quote, black people are finding that their attempts to create safe spaces on Facebook for conversation among themselves are being derailed by the platform itself. Non-black people are reporting that what are meant to be positive efforts as hate speech, despite them often not violating Facebook's terms of service. Their content is removed without notice. Accounts are suspended indefinitely. What does Facebook need to do to fix this?
So Facebook needs to introduce more cultural competency in their work. You'll find that the vast majority of the people who work in the operations teams are not people of color. They don't understand some of this language. And because Facebook receives these complaints, it is not going out and pulling down posts on its own, that there needs to be some understanding of, okay, this isn't just someone excluding white people or excluding people who aren't black. They're trying to create an inclusive space. And Facebook needs to be able to support that if it wants to build communities.
How much of this is about Facebook not simply having enough people on staff that look like me and you?
Well, their numbers have gone up, and I really applaud the team who has increased the diversity of Facebook, going from 2 to 4%. But black Americans make up 12% of the U.S., and black people often double engagement on the platform. And so not only do you have to have black faces in there, but you have to care about not just black causes, but black lives, the lives of the employees and the lives of the people on the platform who are being affected by these changes, these policies, or the inaction of the company.
Mark Lucky, I enjoyed our conversation, sir. Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.